Today I'm going to be talking about episode 18, which is Numbers. This is our first flashback episode for Hurley, and at this point in the show now, everybody who's had a flashback episode has gotten a flashback episode. We got a couple more episodes left after this. It's mostly, it's characters who have already had flashbacks. We got a Jack, a Locke, Kate, Saeed. I don't think that order was even remotely right. But, and then you have the flashback finale. But so yeah, Numbers. I can tell you this was another good episode, another solid episode, and really impactful. I think, honestly, one of the biggest things about Lost, something that you're always gonna think of, you're always gonna associate with this show. That number one thing is going to be the numbers. I mean, it's like such a huge iconic part of the show. I mean, 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42. I mean, you can't not talk, about the numbers. Like, I could do 17 videos just based on these numbers. I mean, or I guess I could do one per number, which I hadn't thought about. I guess I'll have to do it at that now at this point sometime in the future. Just doing a whole episode devoted to the number 4 apparently. But anyway, so introducing this concept of the numbers and the numbers being cursed, bad luck, and getting Hurley's backstory a little bit here, it's all very interesting. And the thing about this flashback for Hurley is that it's a really well done flashback story. I mean, it's nothing amazing. It's no Walkabout or Outlaws or some of the other really really good flashback episodes we've gotten. But the flashback story really tells you almost all you need to know about Hurley. Honestly, he won the lottery. Use the numbers are cursed. He thinks the numbers are cursed. He starts thinking the money is cursed. He goes to investigate that curse. It lands him in Sydney, and there you go. Of course, we do need another flashback episode to get a little bit more background with him and the mental hospital that we find out that he was in for at least some period of time. But I mean, really, you can sum up Hurley's story in 2 flashback episodes, and it's not like a disservice to Hurley and his flashback episodes, because they're all really good flashback episodes. I guess it's just like a plus for Hurley because he has these flashback episodes which you don't really need. You don't really need this more information, but it's such a strong and compelling character that we appreciate this more background and more information and enjoy seeing this stuff. So, again, another little character connection in there. One some people might miss, honestly, is that Hurley owns the box company that Locke works for. And I think next season we'll get the extra little bit of connection that Hurley actually knows Locke's old boss, Randy, or I guess his current boss. That was Locke's most recent job. But I mean, I guess the assumption would be that Locke would get fired after this if you go by season 6, which you really can't, honestly, though. But so, I mean, forget I mentioned it. It doesn't really matter. You also get Hurley's brother, which is I don't think ever mentioned again. I wonder if he mentions his. I know there's at some point where he lists all the bad things that happens to him because of the numbers. Like at some point in the future, he lists all the bad things. I don't remember if his brother is part of that. But it's just like a random thing. Like Hurley has a brother just out there that is never that's seemingly never mentioned again. I wonder if it's like an actor thing, like that actor, they tried to get that actor back at some point, and he didn't want to do it or couldn't, scheduling, whatever. But it's always interesting to me that you never. Cause I know the grandpa gets mentioned. Like, he definitely does mention his grandpa dying when he lists all the bad things that happened to him. I know he mentions how his friend ran off with his crush or whatever she was. But yeah, and then the real meat of the episode is Hurley going on his little quest to find Rousseau because they need a battery for Michael's raft. So it's interesting seeing just kind of Hurley's definitely been a character who's been more on the sidelines. If you think of all these other characters have kind of been part of action or treks in some way. Like you had the big team up for the Ethan Hunt. You had the big trek for the. You had the big trek to the top of the mountain for the radio where they discover the transmission. So you get a lot of these characters who get their moment to participate in big events. Boone and Shannon went on that first trek. Honestly, a lot of people went on that first trek. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. You get treks, and then you get these these showdowns, and even earlier in the episode, you get Boone is standing guard. So really, the only characters who haven't been part of the action at this point, and it have been Hurley, Sun, Jin, and somewhat Claire. Claire was bait in the Ethan episode, but and it's also understandable for a lot of it too. There's that the communication barrier between Sun and Jin only recently got broken down, so now they're able to participate a little bit more as soon as Jin starts speaking to Sun again, which I assume if I remember just happens maybe 1 or 2 episodes from now. Probably I want to say it happens before Born to Run. Yeah, I want to say it definitely it probably happens during Greater Good. It's probably a little subplot for them during Greater Good, because Born to Run is the whole plot line of Michael gets accidentally poisoned because Sun's trying to poison Jin to make him stay. But whatever, I'll talk about that in a couple of days. But yeah, this stuff is good. It's nice. It's nice to see Rousseau again. Another reoccurring appearance there. It was nice to see someone, kind of validate Hurley a little bit in his belief in the numbers. I don't know how comforted I would be with Rousseau believing me, because the implication is there that she's kind of crazy too. But it almost also... This whole thing, it almost also validates Rousseau in a little bit. I wonder if we're supposed to watch this and question just how crazy Rousseau is. Does this give us more concern about the things she's saying about, the sickness and, monsters or whatever on the island, others. So the things that she's saying that might make her sound crazy. Is she really crazy? So I think coming from Hurley's perspective, because we've never associated Hurley with being a crazy character at this point, so there's a little bit more validity when he starts saying, I think the numbers are cursed. I think you tend to maybe believe that a little more. I think as the audience you think, well, maybe he's right. These numbers might be cursed. Some bad things have been happening to him, and you see a little. It's almost like a little montage throughout the flashbacks. Just bad things happen. There's just some random guy falls off the building he happens to be in. I assume it was a suicide. I don't know if they. I think they might. I think he might mention that as well when he does the little list of bad things that happened to him. Now that I think about that, I think it's the Trisha Tanaka is dead episode when he's doing the interview, and like in the middle of the interview, he starts listing all the terrible things that happened to him, and she's just like, "What are you doing?" It's got that. You do get the little side plot as well with Locke and Claire, where Locke starts building Claire her crib. It's just some good Claire moments, and to kind of address where she's at after this whole Ethan stuff, because she still doesn't remember anything. And something for Locke to do, because Locke's got a lot to do in the next episode, so I guess just letting things be calm for a little bit. This is kind of like Locke's last peaceful moment on this show, honestly. So I guess let him enjoy it, and let him just relax making some crib, because he's going to go through a lot after this episode over the course of 5 seasons. But yeah, and of course, I've got to talk about the ending. Honestly, I think one of the best cliffhanger endings of the season, if you exclude premieres and finales. Because premieres and finales are always going to be grander, in a sense. They're always going to have the bigger openings and the bigger cliffhanger endings. But this like barely even a cliffhanger, honestly. But this ending of like seeing the hatch, like zooming in on those numbers being stamped into the hatch. It's just a great moment, just to know like, oh no, what does this possibly mean? Now you're almost like worried. Do we not want to be opening this hatch? Is there like not something good in this hatch? Now I feel like I vaguely remember when I was watching this for the first time. I don't want to talk about this too much. Try and make this short, but like I vaguely remember not thinking the hatch would like be like a bunker. It's basically just a bunker, right? I almost expected the hatch to like contain something, right? Like it would just be like filled with poisonous gas or something, and they would open the hatch and like the gas would spill out and poison them or something. Like I didn't expect the hatch to be I didn't expect the hatch to be able to be entered. I was really trying to find a better way to say that. Enterable. But that doesn't sound right at all. I don't know, I didn't expect the hatch to be like a thing you go inside an area to sit down. I just expected it to be like containing something. Because it had all this other space that I wasn't expecting. I was really just expecting it to be like a tube in the ground with an opening on the top, filled with whatever that you didn't want to get out there. Because I feel like naturally I assumed it was something bad. And I feel like this scene, this association with the numbers probably helped you to think that the hatch wasn't a good thing. And then at some point, Walt tells Locke not to open it. It must be. It's probably at the end of Greater Good. Walt tells Locke not to open the hatch. Or maybe Born to Run, I don't know. But anyway, after this, or right, coming up next, I guess I should say better, we have Deus Ex Machina. Another big moment. I mean, we're in the end game now here with this. I mean, we've got 5, 6 for solid episodes, just back to back, action packed, no real calm. Maybe just greater good is like the calmest we're gonna get, which isn't really all that calm. But yeah, so we got that up next, and I will see you guys then.